Good morning, everybody. Back for another OSOK stream. Good morning, Ash. How are you? Jimmy, Krypton, a few other peeps in here. Give them a couple more minutes to get some people to join. Hope everyone's day has been going well so far. I know this is an exciting time. Get a chance to expedite some more evals. The process of compounding evaluations, I think, is highly underrated by many, might not even be known by many, but it's a concept that I love. It's a concept that allows you to lower risk, take less trades, and in my opinion, it gives you the tools needed to be a better trader. At the end of the day, it's us versus the market. The market's always going to win, but if we can take a little bit from the house every once in a while, and any advantage we can have against the house, I like. So, not sure how many are going to be new in here. In the chat, anybody who might be new and this is their first time to an OSOC stream, I don't want to waste everyone's time with a bunch of stuff going over the same thing over and over again. But if you're new in here and this is your first time watching OSOC or hearing about OSOC, yeah, just put new or first timer in there. All right, well, we got one. Anybody else? Anybody listening? Absolutely. My pleasure, Ash. Oh, stop it. Krypton, I'm new here. This guy. Jimmy, your joke had to do with the Dixie. That's where the joke came in. All right, well, let's go ahead and we'll get right to what everyone wants to know. What's the pad? What's the pad? Everybody wants to know. If you're in Ash's Unicorn University or Tease the Market Lens, and you guys are both, you're paying membership for either one of those, you can get the data sheet. You don't have to ask me that question, what the pad is, what the pad is. It's fine that you do, but you can find this stuff out yourself, guys. And I know I've talked about this before. I am a true believer. Doing yourself is the best way to learn and the best way to practice anything. But here we go. We do have a couple new guys. We have some time. So I'm going to get into the concept of one shot, one kill and passing evals. Essentially, for those that are new here, we like to rapid pass evals so we can stack multiple evaluations accounts and then use a trade copier to trade them. Why is that beneficial? Well, you can have 10 funded accounts. You can risk 250 bucks and get one 2-hour trade for a $500 profit. You multiply that across 10 accounts. Well, you just took a $250 trade and turned it into a $5,000 profit. So why is that important? Because it makes you a better trader. It allows you to not have to try to take more trades to make more money. So that's the beauty of compounding accounts using a trade copier. And why the OSOK method? Well, many may say, "Oh, I'll just trade my own strategy." That is totally fine. And in fact, if you are still trying to learn your strategy, I say don't do this method, right? Learn the strategy first, then pass evals. But if you're more comfortable wanting to pass an eval with the strategy that you're going to be employing, then by all means do it. However, you have to understand, as with anything, there's investment. And in funded accounts, you're investing in your future, you're investing in your account. How do prop firms make money? Well, I could tell you, folks, it's not from the 10% that they make off a profit split. It's from fees for people buying accounts, failing accounts, resetting accounts, and most importantly, having to take 3 to 6 months to pass an eval. So the longer it takes you to pass an eval, the more money they make, the more money that comes out of your pocket. And some might say that's fine with me, and I get it, no problem whatsoever. This method that we will employ allows you to do it in one shot. So yes, there is a risk to this. Yes, you can lose your funded prop firm challenge fee in just a couple of seconds, but you can also pass in a couple of seconds. So can we have a defined edge with our risk? I believe we can. I know many others have, and that's where the protection pad has come into play. Now, markets haven't been that friendly recently in recent news events, with not moving as far as they had in the past, and we can take CPI as an example. If you look here, I'll blow this up so everyone can see it. This column here is how far price moves from the open or higher low of that first 5-minute candle. Well, let's go back to April of last year. Look how much: 302 points, 146 points, 143 points, 99, 105, 114. But look at the last two CPIs. They've been smack dead the exact same, 77.5 points. They haven't moved that far. NFP's been the same. NFP has also not moved that far. Why is that? Well, among other factors, some may say that our economy is still in the tank here in the United States. Others may say that this data is not as important as it was a few months or even a year ago, when we had a higher inflation rate, when we were unaware of who was going to be our new president. Yes, global events and the overall fundamental of economics will affect this. However, market makers will still take advantage of people, and they will still manipulate. So, with all that being said, this method employs using both a sell stop and a buy stop at the same time. So, right before the news drops, there's going to be price moving in one way or another, or in both directions. And one of the orders are going to be executed. And if our pad's not big enough, both orders are going to be executed, and you're going to fail the account. So what is the protection pad? I've had a lot of people ask me in the last few days, what does it stand for? Well, pad, it doesn't stand actually for anything. What it is if on a chart, we'll go to an example here. If we can, let's see here. So here was September of last year. The actual candle itself, from the open to the low, moved 86 points on NFP, or I'm sorry, on CPI. The manipulation first, before it moved 86 points, was 32.75 points. So the protection pad right now is currently set at 44. So if we had orders sitting 44 points above and 44 points below the previous candle right before the news drops, what the protection pad does is it prevents us from getting wicked out by this 33-point move in the opposite direction before the actual 86-point move happened. Well, with the specific accounts that I play, which are the $250,000 Apex accounts, with my max allocation of being 27 contracts, and I need $15,000 to pass the eval, I only need 28 points to actually pass. So with that being said, if I have a 44-point pad and price moves 86 points, right, and I don't get wicked out by the 33 points in the opposite direction first, well, I'm passing this eval because I only need price to move from 44 to 86, 28 points, and that's more than 28 points. So that's the basis of the protection pad. It's to try to prevent being wicked out. Now, we're not always going to be protected. And in some cases, we can actually pass on the manipulation. So CPI is a little different. There's only one manipulation that's really large. NFP has some bigger manipulations, but in the last year and a half or so, the largest manipulation for CPI is 88.5. But in some instances, we could have a smaller pad if our average manipulation is higher, because you can pass on the manipulation leg too. So it's not to prevent all the wicking in the opposite direction first, but the majority of the wicking. So right now, currently, for a $250,000 account with a 27 allocation and a $15,000 profit target, a 44 pad is going to be 81% passing rate. So we'll see what happens. It's been pretty good. I mean, if you look at the last 10 or so, it's only had one loss. So everyone who is in this chat right now, if you are in the Unicorn University or the Market Lens, you can go either to my journal, my personal journals, or in the Unicorn University, the OSOK method, and you can download this pad yourself. So you guys can take a look and play with the numbers. Everybody's account's different. We'll just use one real quick for an example. Kitty, you're on the ES. So let's go to 50 points. And you said 15 contracts, and you need a 12K profit target. Well, you need 16 points. So a 44 pad passes you 88% of the time. Let's just play around with this. Let's go 25. It's going to be less. Go 20. Less. Go 10. So because you only need to go 16 points, and this is why I get the question, well, what about me? What about me? What can I do? It's different for everybody. You need to play with this so you can determine, well, if I only need 16 points to pass, and if the average manipulation is 39, can I go down and pass on the manipulation phase? Possibly. Or you can go higher and see if you have a higher win rate. Looks like 88% at 45 would be the one for ES. You know, the Nico, that's a good question. I've personally never done it on ES. ES 45 points on ES is a lot of points, guys. So I don't know if you're going to get an entry at 45 points. You might have to play like 8 points. There you go. 8 points gives you a 94% passing rate. So I personally don't. The one thing I have started to track, yeah, I agree, Ash. The one thing I have started to track, though, over the last few news events, the Euro future has had zero manipulation and all one-sided moves. So I've started to track the data. I need to change the calculations of the figures because it needs to be in pips instead of points and everything else. So I'm working on that. But I definitely like how the Euro has been looking. And yes, Nico, this is currently only for NQ. However, once again, you can download this pad or this spreadsheet from those two places that I said. You can do the math or do the number crunching yourself either on NQ or ES. I will be working on a new data sheet that will have a drop down right here. You can choose the asset, and then I'm going to add in the Euro. I still have to figure out how to do the math for, like I said, for pips or whatever they are on the Euro futures. So this way we can test multiple assets. Another one I also would like to see is oil, and see if there's a way to do this on oil, especially on oil inventory days. There's been a few oil inventory days that have been pretty awesome. So I also want to start tracking any asset that we can get strong one-sided moves without manipulation are going to be great assets to attempt this on. So that's what I'd be looking at there. So let's get into how we actually place the orders. So currently, here's the protection pad set at 45. That's what I have it set for right now. Let's go ahead and log into paper trading. Just full disclosure, letting everyone know I am not attempting today. I have 11 funded accounts at this time, which, by the way, I did reach a payout goal on 4 of them yesterday. So I will be requesting a $12,000 payout on those accounts soon. I still have 7 other accounts that I'm close to getting a payout, and that would be in total a $33,000 payout. And that was my goal, to reach all 11 accounts, and then I can start trying to stack more funded accounts. So let's go here. So first thing you guys want to do, as far as the process of how you're going to actually place the orders, you want to make sure that you have, under trading, you want instant order placement on. So let's make sure everyone has that on. And keep in mind, once this is done, you need to be able to go back in and turn this off, because you don't want instant orders placed right away. You also need to be able to have the ability inside you to flip the switch off after you're done with this. And we're get our little adrenaline rush, because this will give you a bit of an adrenaline rush. Be able to turn it off, go back to discipline, go back to proper risk management, and go back to playing your strategy. And again, I say this, I've said it 100 times. I know Ash has said it. Others have said it as well. It's very important that you understand the risk of what you're spending on a funded account for the eval. And if that is too much risk for you and you can't just take that money and light it on fire and be okay with it, then don't do this strategy. So you have to be okay with doing that. Yeah, Diego, the 5-point pad, I'm not a fan of that, because sometimes price can be moving a lot right before the news drop happens. Like right now, it's very slow, and it can move 5 points right before the open, right before the news even drops. So a 5-point pad is going to be very risky to do. I mean, by all means, if you want to try it, try it. However, it can become very risky depending on how much price is going to be bouncing around before the news event. So it really just depends on that what price is doing for that day. So sometimes I've seen price do absolutely nothing, and I've also seen it bounce around a lot. So I love it, Nico. Good job. You're actually using the pad. That's what I want to see, guys. I want to see you guys do this. I understand you guys ask me the questions, and I understand it, but I can't harp on the fact that I want you guys to do this yourself. Download the spreadsheet, input the data that might not be in there, play around with the pad, test things. Do this for yourself. The more you do it yourself, the better you're going to be. So anyways, so we have instant orders on. In order to place these orders, they're going to be stop orders. They're not market or limit orders. So we're going to right click on our mouse, go down to trade, create order. And if we're below price, we're going to be doing a sell stop order. I'm going to place my maximum amount of contract allocation, which is 27 contracts. And then I'm going to put in my profit target. I try to go over a little bit, because you will get slippage. I said this 100 times. You will never not get slippage. It just depends on if it's slippage in a good way or slippage in a bad way. I've had it happen both. The majority of time I get slipped in a positive direction, but there will be times where price moves. It will go past and hit your take profit target. And you look at your account and you go, oh man, I missed it by $2,000, right? That can happen. So in that instance, you're almost there. Just take a trade or two on your actual strategy and pass the rest of the way. So once again, for below market, we're going to do a sell stop order, not a limit, not a market order. It's a stop order. And we're only going to have our take profits checked. And we want to have our dollar amount goal where you want to, for your take profit, you're going to hit sell. And then we're going to go above price. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to right click, create order. This time it's a buy order. once again, a buy stop order. Make sure you have your proper amount of contracts allocated, your take profit is checked, and the proper dollar amount that you need for your passing. So you hit buy. Okay. Now, I usually do this about a minute or two before the actual news event drops, and I let the orders just kind of sit far enough out of the money in case there's a little bit of movement back and forth. You don't get executed. And then what we do, 10 seconds before the actual news event drops, you hold your shift button down, and then you drag the bracket order right up to the protection pad. You let go, and then you do the same thing for right here. So that's how you would actually place the orders just before the news event. And like I said, I normally do it about a minute or two before. Just sit there, look at your little countdown, and then 10 seconds before I do it. Now, you might get a little bit of movement back and forth here on the pad within that 10 seconds. It is what it is. I mean, if you think you're fast enough to keep wiggling around with it and stuff like that, that's fine. But it doesn't bother me at all if it wiggles back and forth a few ticks. So, but you're more than welcome to do that if that is what you want to do. So go ahead and do that. Because I am not actually going to attempt it myself, what I'm actually going to do is I am going to place a horizontal line above and below, and then I will just drag my simulated horizontal line order down. And there we go. I still didn't make a mistake. Oh, another thing I think we could say, we got about 8 minutes to go. This doesn't work for every funded account, guys. I know some Top Step has like a 50% rule, so you might have to do this in a couple of trades. Well, if that's the case, use a third of the risk, right, or a half of the risk, so that way, if it doesn't, work in your favor, then you don't blow the entire account. I know my funded futures, one side tag in it. Oh, correct. Thank you, Peyton. Yes. Yeah, 100%. Totally forgot about that. Once your orders execute, whatever side executes first, guys, you want to immediately go and cancel the other order. I apologize, but thanks for pointing that out, Peyton. We want to make sure we cancel the other order. So whatever one gets executed first, cancel the other side of the order, if everyone understands that. Marco, I've said it 100 times. Maybe you don't have access to the pad. I don't know. 3 cons. What's your profit target? No? Okay. I can't tell you without knowing what your profit target is. I'm more than happy to put it in the account or the spreadsheet to look, but I can't tell you that without knowing what your profit target is. On that, for my funded futures, I know many had, there we go, 3K. Thank you, Peyton. I know many had done this before with my funded futures, and they had no problem with it, but I believe they have changed some rules around. And Ash, you can tell me, or someone else can tell me in the chat if I'm right or wrong, but I believe you have to have one trade that lasts for at least 15 seconds long before you can actually attempt this. So someone in the chat can tell me if I'm right or wrong about that, but I do believe that's how that works. So 3, and you need 3K. You're gonna need a lot of points to pass, Marco. It's at a 50%. So this might not work the best for only a 50K account, because even at a 45 pad, you need 50 points to pass. So that's a whole lot. So so I would think about possibly maybe using another funded account, or having a larger account with my funded futures that you can have larger contract allocation. Yep. All right. Let's go back to the charts here. Thanks, guys, for answering that question about my funded. I knew you guys would have that answer. The indicator it's my indicator. It's called the protection pad, and I'll put in the link in the description. But let me grab it real quick and put the actual link to it. It's a private one where I actually have to send a link so you can get it. But let's go ahead here. I will link this real quick. And here you go, guys. That's the link to the indicator. Dom, maybe you just joined. I feel like a broken record at this point. Couldn't tell you. I need to know more particulars about the account. Okay. So I would need to know how many contracts you want to allocate, what your profit target is. Yeah. So if it's just a 50K My Funded Futures account, you need 50 points to pass, right? So with the large pad like this, you're only going to have like a 50% win rate. Yeah. So regardless of the pad size, when you need to get 50 points, I'm going to go out on a limb and say might not want to try that account. The reason why I like the Apex accounts or is the 250K accounts is that I can risk 27 contracts. I only need price to move 28 points. So, and there's other accounts that have less, maybe not as much contract allocation, but have a lower profit target as well. So, I don't know if I personally would be doing a 50K My Funded Futures account. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and place the orders now. Once again, remember it's a sell stop below and a buy stop above price. And let's just have those sitting on the charts. We're at 1 minute and 30 seconds. Yeah, Johnny, ES doesn't move that much. At 20 points with a 33-point pad, that means you're going to need ES to move 53 points. Don't think you're going to get a 53-point move in ES. That's a lot. Good luck, everyone. This would be nice if we get a beautiful one-sided giant move. All right, we can go ahead and move the orders down now. Hold the shift button and drag your bracket orders up and down. Here we go. Another lethargic price action. Oh, these guys. All right, so at this point, guys, I personally would close out my orders because I want to see price react immediately. It's totally up to you guys if you want to stay in, but price has gone nowhere. So it's up to you what you want to do. I personally would cancel the orders. Yeah, this hasn't done anything. Lethargic. Yeah. Yep. Yep. It's okay. Guess what, guys? No one blew an account, so that's okay. Yep. Let's see if it's going to do anything here. Yeah. Yep. And why is it lethargic? Well, it's because our inflation has gotten under control. We have a new president elect, and there's not so many questions about the economy. That's why I want to also look at some other assets and other large volatile injections of liquidity. And that's why I wanted to start tracking oil during oil inventories and among other things. Just for the heck of it, what did the Euro futures do? Did they do anything? Yeah, look at the Euro. Man, I'll tell you what, the Euro has really been making some large moves on our news events. Not sure why the Euro is having such a large effect, but that's pretty big right there. Depending on the size of the pad, we probably could have passed on something like that. So that's why I'm going to start tracking other assets as well. Yep, Alexander, you're 100% correct. Yep. I don't think CL did anything, Grandma. I don't. I'll look, but a lot of times these events don't do anything to CL. Yeah, it would be oil inventories for CL. That's what I would be tracking. I know the last two oil inventories, I believe, were giant one-sided moves. So that's another asset that I want to start tracking and running the number on the data to see if we could also do this on CL as well during an inventory. So um, I'm not going to say you guys go and do this, but something you can test. I've tried it twice at the 9:30 open. I failed once, I passed once. Actually, I'm sorry, I did it 3 times, and the third time it didn't do anything. So I have zero data collection on it. It was just kind of a shot in the dark and see, oh, let's place an order here, place an order there. So it's not data driven, but essentially this method with the proper practice and proper data collection could be used on virtually any liquidity injection. So those are just some things to think about. Correct, Johnny. At least we didn't blow an account. That's right. So I like it when obviously I want to see us all pass. Oh, there it goes. Finally, it got moving now. But still, not even at the pad size yet. Still hasn't even gone 44 points. So candle looks big, but it's not even 44-point candle yet. So still not a very large move. Bitcoin. I have never looked at Bitcoin for this. Let's see. Let's look at some Bitcoin. Yeah, there you go. Bitcoin moved a lot. That could be another asset to track and take a look at. So I can definitely, like I said, I'm going to try to add the Euro, possibly CL. I got to figure out the math first on how I can determine a per tick or per point value on my spreadsheet. And maybe we can add Bitmap or Bitcoin as well. I'd have to figure that out as well. So give me a little while, guys. I'll get that all squared away and get it into the calculations of the pad. But I will have a new data sheet that I'll probably be uploading here in the next week or so. That will have just a drop down, and then you'll be able to choose the asset, automatically define the per point, per tick, whatever value, so we can track this and get some more assets in here. So, anybody else have any questions? I know Ash has got to get to his stream at 9:15. Make sure everyone tunes into that. In fact, it's a Wednesday live stream, so he will be live on YouTube for everybody. Jimmy had a great stream this morning. He always puts out good streams, but his midweek markup was great. And let's just see if there's anybody who has any questions. Very welcome, Grandma. Yep, Russell too. You can look at the Russell as well. I'll add that. See if I can add that into the spreadsheet. But again, the more assets we can have, the better chances we have. Yep, that is correct. And guys, make sure to turn off instant order placement, so that way you're not randomly putting orders in thinking you're putting in limits and it instantly executes. Thanks, Jimmy. I always feel weird saying that. I'll like and subscribe. I know you're supposed to, but I'm just not one to say that. So thanks, Jimmy, for putting that out there for me, brother. NQ is moving now, finally. Let's see. Yeah, but it just barely moved, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I was on Bitcoin still. Let's take a look. Yeah, it just barely moved past. So right now, we were just now executed, right? So it still needs to move another, 28 points, at least in my case. So it could happen, but I like to have it happen right away. So a 5-point pad. I know somebody said something about a 5-point pad. You would have lost on a 5-point pad because you would have been wicked out before the move happened. So that's again why I like to have the larger pad. So it's okay, guys. Guess what? We didn't lose anything, and we can go right back to our normal trading. Let's see. Yeah, Ash is probably getting ready for his stream right now, but I could hear him saying that exact thing. Ash, if you're still on. Oh, there he is. Great information. You know what you want to say, Ash, about this price action this morning. His disgust. Absolutely, Marco. Once again, guys, if you're not in, there it is. Lethargic. If you guys aren't in either the Unicorn University or the Market Lens, links to either one of those are both in the description of this video. That is how you would get access to the data sheet. Sleeper, yep. It decided to take a nap. So that's it for me, guys. Glad we got another one in, another learning experience, and we have some more events. PPI is tomorrow. It's might be something to look at. Just look at the data sheet. It doesn't have the best of numbers, but anything can happen. So we'll catch you on the next one. Everyone have a good day. Stay safe and happy trading. I'll catch you on the other side.